Good morning. I'm Joe Brusuelas, Senior Economist at Bloomberg LP, with your Bloomberg Economic Brief Morning Cup of Joe. We've got a really interesting day shaping up in the U.S. economy. This morning, before the bell, we're going to see the releases of first quarter earnings results from J.P. Morgan and Wells Fargo. Those will likely overshadow the data releases we're going to have a little bit later in the morning. At 8:30, we're going to see the CPI for March. Rising gasoline, fuel oil, and food prices, albeit at a more modest pace than observed last month, is likely to result in a 0.3% increase according to a survey conducted by Bloomberg. Now, there is real downside risk on this, in part due to some seasonal issues. We did see them in yesterday's PPI. I do think that as we move forward, just because of the overall slack in the labor market and restraining aggregate demand, we should see inflation moderate once we move past the spike in energy prices that we observed in early winter. Now, below the headline, you want to look at the increasing cost of rents and vehicles. Those should underscore a more modest pace of 0.2% month over month. I do think that over time we will continue to see overall consumer prices moderate, albeit at a little bit of a slower pace, but that's going to be a later in 2012 story. Then at 9:55 a.m. we're going to get the preliminary estimate of consumer confidence from the University of Michigan. This particular survey is quite sensitive to movements in the price of gasoline and equity markets. Therefore, there's likely some downside risk on the consensus forecast of 76.2. Now, later on at 1 p.m., here in New York at the Princeton Club, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke is going to speak, where he's going to address his reflections on the crisis and the policy response. I'm one of the fortunate few that's been invited to this talk. I'm going to go there. And you can turn tonight to Bloomberg's televisions, where I'll be on Matt Miller's Bloomberg Rewind. Carol Massar is going to be the guest host, and we'll have former Clinton White House labor advisor Karen Tremonto on with us, and I'll be sure to talk about my impressions of Bernanke's speech. I'm Joe Brusuelas, and that's been your Bloomberg Economic Brief Morning Cup of Joe.